Very sizable.
A single broadside from victory packs more weight of iron than every gun in Wellington's army at Waterloo.
Yo, we are back again. Epic History TV. HMS Total Victory Guide. I've heard a lot about this ship. So I want to learn more about it in detail, so let's get it.
Britain is at war with France. The French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte will soon dominate mainland Europe. But at Britain's Royal Navy reigns supreme.
Typical Britain.
That year, Napoleon wins one of his greatest victories against the Russians and Austrians at Austerlitz.
Oh yeah,
6 weeks
we already did that video.
The British win a battle of much more lasting strategic significance.
That's all Trafalgar,
The Navy inflicts a
crushing defeat on the combined fleet of France and Spain. Enemy losses are
devastating.
This was the battle that that saved my country. This was the battle that saved Barbados, bro. I'm not sure if I don't think a lot of people know this, but we used to actually have a statue of Lord Nelson back in Barbados as well. We had our own little Trafalgar Square before it was removed due to extremely stupid reasons. But yeah, we gave a statue to Lord Nelson as well, because back then the people were extremely afraid that France would be getting a Napoleonic invasion, because you need to remember, guys, the Caribbean was extremely strategic and extremely important for its sugar, right? You know, the guys, sugar back then was called white gold for a reason. But yeah, it's very interesting as well. I've seen the statue many times. It's like right next to the Parliament building in Bridgetown before they removed it. It's stupid how they removed it. Extremely dumb. But yeah, man, a lot of people say that Lord Nelson was racist and whatnot, and that's why they removed it, and that he owned slaves. Guys, it was so dumb. It was really dumb, especially when you like actually know more about Lord Nelson and his personality and whatnot. It's extremely sad that they deleted that piece of history, man. Let's continue.
Naval superiority
will not be seriously challenged again for the rest of the war. Britain goes on to play a leading role in Napoleon's eventual defeat. Its greatest contribution, its wooden walls, the Royal Navy. Britain is the world's largest naval power.
With
136 ships of the line and 110,000 men at sea.
Wow, that is, bro, 110,000 men at sea. That's literally half the population of freaking Barbados, bro. Wow, that is actually very like that's really big.
The Navy protects the homeland from invasion. It allows Britain to project force into Europe with raids and expeditionary forces. It cuts off enemy trade while protecting Britain's own. It isolates and seizes overseas colonies, including the vastly profitable sugar islands of the West Indies.
Thank you, Epic History TV, for mentioning this. I'm so glad he mentions this, because a lot of people, like I said before, this is why we were afraid, or at least the Barbadians back then. Well, back then there wasn't really Barbadians back then. They weren't called Barbadians. They were simply just British, right? You're just British. Like that whole like identity, the whole like English Caribbean, Jamaica, Bahamian, Trinidad, none of that existed. I watched documentaries on this. I read on this. That's not what like the people in the British Caribbean call themselves. They just call themselves British, okay? None of that existed. But I'm for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna say Barbadians, because you know, so that you understand. But guys, this is why they were afraid of getting invaded by Napoleon. This is why the statue of Lord Nelson, and I'm actually grateful. Okay, I'm actually grateful myself. Lord Nelson, even when he was chasing Napoleon's fleet, actually stopped by in Barbados. If you know the whole chase with Vilna and Lord Nelson, you probably should know that. But yeah, that's when like few months later he died, right? A few months after he left Barbados, he died. Apparently he loved the island so much or something like that. And then I don't know, there was like controversy that new notes came out that he hated the island, he hated the guys. I don't even know. Personally, there's a bunch of misinformation going on with that whole Lord Nelson thing. But it's just ridiculous how they removed the statue, because even if he didn't like the island, he still saved the island from a Napoleonic invasion, guys. And we would have been speaking French today, okay? Like we would have been like, guys, you hear the accent that I'm talking to you in, guys. That wouldn't be there, okay? We would have been a French colony, okay? And really and truly, being a British colony is much better than being a French colony, okay? I think anyone with a remote brain should know that, because the French are actually more repressive. Anyone who knows how France works, they know that the French are way more repressive than the British, okay? Like, this is why I said that it's stupid that they removed the statue, because, like, guys, imagine if we would have been a French colony, right? Like, imagine, like, seriously, like, we wouldn't even be an independent nation today. Like, seriously, all of the French West Indies, they're still French colonies, guys. Seriously, they're still French colonies. The only country that was a French colony that is an independent country now is Haiti. And even then, France purposely screwed over that country. Right? Britain was the best colonial overlord to have, and that's why I'm grateful towards Lord Nelson for sacrificing himself so that I didn't have to speak French or French Creole today. Thank you very much. I am very, very happy with learning how to speak King's/Queen's English. It was called Queen's English when Queen Elizabeth was alive, but she's gone, so King's English now. I'm grateful that I had to just learn that instead of French today, guys. Let's continue.
It undermines enemy economies, while allowing Britain to use its own financial strength to sustain its allies. In 2 decades...
I want y'all to know that a lot of that money, that was from the Caribbean, alright? That was from the British Caribbean, guys. They always talk about how, oh yeah, Britain had money, guys, that came from the Caribbean. All of that was mostly Caribbean money.
War with France. Britain wins a series of naval battles that ensure it can carry out these war-winning strategies effectively. Among the Royal Navy's most formidable warships, HMS Victory.
Alright.
First-rate ship of the line. The most powerful class of warship afloat. 104 guns.
Alright.
820 men.
Very sizable.
A single broadside from Victory packs more weight of iron than every gun in Wellington's army at Waterloo.
What? Holy crap. Okay, that is a lot of firepower.
This is Epic History TV's guide to a legendary Napoleonic warship. This video is sponsored by Fabulous.
I am poor. Guys, donate to my Patreon. Link is in the description down below. I mean, you're not just donating to it, but you get extra perks. So let's continue.
HMS Victory lies in
dry dock in Portsmouth on England's south coast.
All right.
It's visitor attraction and the world's oldest commissioned warship.
Oh, really?
She's a remarkable survivor from a vanished world of sail-powered warships and global struggles between Europe's...
Man, dude. ships back then, I think ships back then was much more cooler than the ships that we have now. One, they just looked so much better, man. Like, guys, just look at the ships, dude, compared to the ships that we have today. I don't know. I think ship warfare back then was probably much more better too. Well, yeah. It was. Well, you could argue because modern ships, right? It's like if a modern ship cannon hits you or a torpedo hit you, you could probably still like die. You're more like, yeah, you're probably gonna die, actually, now that I think about it, because most of the modern ships battles that I've heard, which I have to react to, I definitely have to react to a lot of that. This is a YouTube channel, I gotta react to that guy. But yeah, look, every single time after the battle is over, the ship that usually sinks, most of the crew dies. So yeah, I like this naval warfare. It's pretty cool. It's really nice to look at, and the ships are just so aesthetic. Let us continue, shall we?
Victory was built to boost British naval power at the height of one of these struggles, the 7 Years' War. Construction began at Chatham Royal Dockyard in 1759. She was designed by Sir Thomas Slade, the foremost British naval architect of the age.
Wow, okay.
Around 6,000 trees went into Victory. Most were
6,000. Wow.
Were originally New England pine. Her keel was
6,000 trees.
And yards more flexible, fir and spruce.
Wow.
The result, launched in 1765, was soon considered a masterpiece. A ship bristling with firepower, with the speed and handling of a much lighter vessel.
Wow.
Victory was not completed in time to take part in the 7 Years' War.
Bro, these flags are freaking massive, dude. My goodness, man. These freaking ensigns are so massive.
She first saw action 13 years later in the American War of Independence, leading the capture of a French convoy off Ushant. When the Revolutionary Wars broke out against France, HMS Victory was the British flagship at the Allied blockade of Toulon.
Oh, I didn't know she was there.
In 1796,
let alone in the Revolutionary War.
Flagship at his great victory over the Spanish at Cape St. Vincent. Victory
I've heard of this battle.
32 years old.
I've heard of this battle. I need to learn more about that battle.
Far beyond her life expectancy of 18 years.
Wow. Still going strong.
Was briefly threatened with being turned into one of Britain's notorious prison ships.
Oh, Britain.
One would have guessed that her greatest hour still lay ahead of her.
Wow.
Because at the last minute, Victory
at 32 years old, man, and this is even like peak HMS Victory, man. Wow, that's mad.
was reprieved and began a major 3-year refit that cost more than she did to build.
What?
Returned to service in 1803.
Holy.
Admiral Nelson's flagship.
All right.
2 years later, she would lead the British attack at Trafalgar and win her place in naval legend.
Bloody.
By the Napoleonic Wars, a first-rate ship of the line was the world's largest and most sophisticated weapon of war.
Right.
It needed a huge
right.
crew to work efficiently.
Very big crew, bruh.
In 1805, Victory's complement was around 820, every man and boy with his designated role. From the admiral of the fleet to the ship's captain, naval lieutenants and marine officers, midshipmen, warrant officers, clerks and stewards, petty officers and their mates, sailors of the able, ordinary, and landlubber variety, Royal Marines, right down to the 31 ship's boys.
So that boys were on that ship. Wait, what were the boys doing on there? Were they just like janitors or something like that? I knew like boys served on ships, but like What were the tasks specifically?
Structure.
A quick reminder of some common nautical terms. The right side of the ship, starboard.
Starboard, okay.
Of the ship, larboard, which only became port in 1844.
Okay. This is actually insightful. I actually knew about the whole starboard thing, but I never knew about the left side being called larboard. Wow, okay.
Her stern. The front, her stem. Towards the stern was aft or abaft.
Stem?
The stem was forward or
You would think that the stem would be the back, because stem is like when you think of the word stem, you think like it's like the root, right? So you would imagine stem would be the back. Okay.
4.
Victory's middle gun deck was 180.
I love this 3D model.
The top
That is
of the
huge.
mast was 205 feet above the waterline.
My gosh.
Victory's top speed was 10 knots, or 11.5 miles per hour, fast for a ship her size. In 1780,
11
she received
miles.
the latest British naval innovation, copper sheathing for her hull. This protected her timbers from shipworm, barnacles and weeds, keeping her solid and streamlined.
Wow. Britain really went like all in on this shit, man.
Like all ships of the line, was ship-rigged, meaning
Okay.
3 masts, foremast, mainmast, and mizzenmast, and a bowsprit.
Bro, this is a
Mast was
gorgeous
made up
ship
of
though.
sections. The lower mast, secured deep in the ship's hold, rose up through the decks to the fighting top, which served as a platform for sharpshooters in battle. Above it, the topmast. Then the cross.
Bam. I know this is how Lord Nelson died, because a sharpshooter went and sniped him. Yeah, I wonder who shot him. But isn't this like dangerous? Is this like very like dangerous to be up here because you are also exposing yourself? I don't know, because guns were a bit different. Muskets and whatnot were very inaccurate and whatnot. So let's continue. But wouldn't that be dangerous though? Like, can someone explain that to me? Let's continue, shall we?
which secured the top gallant mast, pronounced the gallant. The crosstrees was the lookout's position, there being no crow's nests in the Navy. Each mast supported several yards, to which the sails were fastened or bent. Victory's rigging, 26 miles of rope and 786 pulleys in all, came in
26 miles of rope? Guys, that is longer than Barbados. That's longer than my country. 26 miles? What? What? What the heck? That is a lot.
Standing rigging gave structural support to the masts. Forestays and backstays kept them braced fore and aft. The shrouds secured the masts laterally, and their rope steps, called ratlins, were how you climbed the masts. Experienced seamen reached the tops by climbing the futtock shrouds. On a rolling sea, this could mean climbing out over the ocean upside down, so novices were advised to use the lubber's hole. The other type of rigging was running rigging, used to operate the ship's yards and sails, and included halyards, bowlines, and clewlines. Victory had 37 sails with which to harness the power of the...
Those are some big sails, bruh. Very big sails, my dude.
6,500 square yards, about the size of a football pitch, though not all sails could be set together, nor did more sail necessarily mean more speed.
Okay.
Her large square sails included the forecourse, fore topsail, pronounced topsail, and fore top gallant sail, pronounced foretopgarnsail.
Alright.
On the mainmast, the main course, main topsail, and main topgarnsail. The mizzenmast carried a fore and aft rigged sail known as a spanker or driver, as well as mizzen topsail and mizzen topgarnsail, while the bowsprit could carry a variety of fore and aft rigged sails, most commonly a jib and flying jib.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
Sails, known as staysails, could also be set. Victory's upper deck, or weather deck, was actually several decks: the forecastle, waist, quarterdeck, and poop deck. The forecastle is a shortened form of forecastle, a term dating back to the Middle Ages when warships carried raised fighting platforms at both ends.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
The belfry, containing the all-important ship's bell, rung regularly day and night to mark the change of watch. It also housed two 12-pounder guns. All guns in this period were described by the weight of shot they fired. So 12-pounders fired a solid iron ball, known as round shot, that weighed 12 pounds, about the same as a...
Oh, you want to know a fun fact? Barbados has the most, I think the most of these guns in the world. Is either they have the most of those type of guns or the round shots in the world. But if you ever like visit Barbados and you like go to like coastal regions or whatnot, you will probably, especially Bridgetown, you'll see these type of guns on like the forts and whatnot. I know the British built like 45 forts on the island because the island was just that important. So yeah, they're still around. You can still see them. It's pretty cool. All right, let's continue.
The forecastle also mounted two 68-pounder carronades. The carronade was another British innovation, a short, large caliber gun, fearsome at close quarters, but lacking a cannon's range or accuracy.
Although it's meant for close quarters.
The bowsprit and the head. 6 outdoor toilets for several hundred seamen and marines.
The head?
Straight into the...
The head? That does not sound right. Oh, that does not sound right. The head. That, yo, bro. God help my brain.
See below. The waist is where 4 of Victory's 6 boats were stowed. All large ships carried several boats. They were essential for ferrying men and supplies from ship to ship and ship to shore, for towing or turning the ship in launching amphibious attacks.
Oh, I thought those were just lifeboats. I didn't know that those were... Wow, I learned something new. Wow, you see, guys, this is what I love doing these reactions, because I tend to learn something new all the time, especially whenever I read my comments. Guys, sometimes I go back to my comments and I reread them just to, like, refresh my brain, because sometimes y'all just tell me some really cool things that blows my mind. I'm like, how in the world did I not know this? So I actually do enjoy doing these reactions, man.
The quarterdeck was HMS Victory's command centre and housed a total of 12 12-pounder guns. From here, the ship was steered using the ship's wheel. This was the responsibility of one of the ship's 8 quartermasters, assisted by his mates. The ship's wheel was connected by rope to the tiller 3 decks below, which was in turn connected to the rudder. The binnacle, just 4 of the wheel, contained the ship's magnetic compasses and a lantern by which to see them. Cabins for the captain's secretary and the ship's master were located either side of the ship's wheel. Each shared their small room with a 12-pounder gun. The stern area of the quarterdeck comprised the captain's cabins.
Is that the actual
sleeping cabin?
That's the actual room? Wow. Wow, that is actually very neat, very tidy. Wow, that is... wow.
And at the very stern of the ship, his day cabin. All sharing space with 4 12-pounders. The captain also had a private toilet, known as the quarter gallery. Above the captain's cabins, the poop deck, which provided good visibility and access to the mizzenmast. It also housed the signal locker, containing the coloured flags used to communicate with other ships and shore. The Royal Navy's signals code had been recently revised by Admiral Howe. His system involved 14 flags, which could be arranged in various combinations to convey 340 messages.
Okay.
A gun might be fired. At night,
Alright.
signalling with by pre-agreed combinations of gunfire, coloured lanterns, and rockets.
Fam. This sounds sophisticated as heck, my dude. Holy crap. I could only imagine, like, imagine being there. You have to, like, learn all of this, dude. I think today, people in naval, because I met this Australian fella / Aussie. He was talking about Morse code. I think they still have to, like, learn, like, some type of code to communicate or something like that. So it hasn't really changed much. Well, it has, but it just simply evolved. But I'm like, Morse code was, I don't know, man. All this naval stuff seems so freaking complicated to me. But, like, imagine being there, you have to learn all of that. Freaking hell, dude.
A Napoleonic ship of the line was, in essence, a giant floating gun battery designed to pulverize enemy warships and shore installations. Victory's 3 largest decks were all about her guns,
Wow.
as indicated by their name, the upper, middle, and lower gun deck.
Those rooms, bruh.
30 12-pounder guns, 15 on each side. Forward in the round houses was the head for junior officers, rank bringing slightly more privacy and comfort. The sick bay was located in the forward area of the upper gun deck, as it got more fresh air and sunlight than the lower decks. It was screened off from the rest of the deck.
Makes sense.
Partitions.
Makes sense.
Assistants, nicknamed Lob Lolly Boys,
Nah.
the soup they fed to patients, also slept here in their hammocks.
Nah. Surgeons, air quotes, surgeons, bruh. I watched a video on a guy demonstrating how the surgeons, air quotes, would literally cut someone's feet off, amputate it. That's not no surgery. That's just professionally cutting someone's leg off without killing them. That is not surgery. I don't care what you tell me. That was horrific. What I saw in that video,
HMS Victory was a first-rate ship of the line, defined as one that carried 100 guns or more. They were the most powerful vessels afloat, and so admirals often chose them as their flagships, the command vessels for a fleet or squadron.
naturally.
Several renowned British admirals took Victory as their flagship at various times, including Earl Howe and Earl St. Vincent. The most famous, of course, was Viscount Nelson. An admiral required his own suitably grand quarters, located in the stern section of the upper gun deck.
Of course.
These comprised an anteroom and a dining room, which also served as a meeting room. In the sleeping cabin, the admiral usually slept in a suspended cot. But Nelson preferred a campaign bed like this one, easier to get in and out of with only one arm. At the very stern lay the admiral's day cabin, which served as his office and private space.
I really like the fact that this ship is still around and that we can actually, like, see, like, what everything looked like personally. That is like so cool. I really love it whenever, like, pieces of historical figures or anything regarding history is still around so that we can, like, see firsthand, guys. Because seeing it firsthand just really hits different than seeing, like, artwork, pictures, and whatnot, y'all. Let's continue.
The admiral would spend much of his day here, submerged in the meetings, paperwork, and administration required in the running of a fleet. The admiral's cabins, like all cabins on the gun decks and quarterdeck, were formed by removable wooden panels. This meant when a ship cleared for action before battle, the cabins could be rapidly dismantled and carried with furniture and personal items down into the hold. The purpose of this was to allow the gun crews to work their guns without obstruction.
Okay.
The middle gun deck housed 28 24-pounder guns. Heavier guns were lower in the ship for greater stability. The ship's galley, a kitchen and giant iron stove, was where the ship's cook and his mates prepared meals for the crew. The stern section was known as the wardroom, where commissioned officers dined and slept. At night, around 300 sailors and marines slept on this deck. Their hammocks were strung up between the guns.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Deck below.
Oh, no. Too cramped. Way too cramped. Dude, I have trouble sleeping. I don't know, I guess it's because I'm 6 feet. Guys were shorter back then here, so... But guys, I have trouble sleeping on the bed that I sleep on. I can't sleep on something like this. Heck no, my dude. Heck no.
Was the lower gun deck. This housed the Victory's heaviest guns.
Alright.
32-pounders.
Alright.
And at night, more than half the crew, around 460 men, slept here. This plan of HMS Bedford, a contemporary third-rate ship of the line, shows how crowded it could be below decks.
That's what I'm saying. I can't sleep in that. I cannot sleep in that.
Down in the ship, gun ports were usually kept shut because they were close to the waterline. With little fresh air and so many men living down here, the smells of the lower gun deck could be notoriously challenging.
Oh!
The stern area.
Oh, dude. I have like asthma too. Yeah, bro, I would probably die in an environment like this.
The screens was known as the gun room. This was where warrant officers dined, with screened-off sleeping quarters for the master gunner, chaplain, and 2 junior lieutenants. They shared the gun room with the ship's tiller, a large wooden beam connecting the ship's rudder to the ship's wheel via a series of ropes and pulleys. The tiller is not currently in situ, but the strip of canvas marks its position.
Oh,
the beam would swing
interesting
when the ship turned, so anyone dining in the gun room was wise to mind their head. Below the lower gun deck was the orlop deck.
Oh, bro, I would lose my head. I would lose my head. I've been in similar situations. Oh my gosh, dude. I would definitely lose my head. That's all I'm gonna say.
All cabins doors beneath the waterline,
lit only by lanterns. The forward section contained storerooms and cabins for the boatswain and carpenter.
Okay.
The more open area by the main mast was known as the cockpit, fore and aft. The midshipmen berthed and messed here, but in battle it became the surgeon's operating theatre.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. I just got reminded of that video that I watched, man. The surgeon. Air quotes, man. Epic history. Please put air quotes on surgeon. Okay? Freaking hell, dude. My legs, guys, my legs are hurting me. Because I'm thinking of that video of that guy who demonstrated a Napoleonic thing, surgery. Oh my gosh, let's continue.
At the Battle of Trafalgar, after Vice Admiral Nelson was shot on the quarterdeck by a French sharpshooter, he was carried down to the orlop. Victory's surgeon was unable to save him.
Why was Nelson even on top? Why, bro, go. Why didn't he go and like down, like somewhere safer, man? Oh my gosh.
And this is where he died. Off the aft cockpit lay a series of cramped compartments, including personal storerooms for the captain and first lieutenant, the steward's room for issuing rations brought up from the hold, the surgeon's cabin and his dispensary, and various other cabins and storerooms. Forward and aft, hanging magazines held ready-made cartridges for the guns sent up from the main magazine.
Okay.
The orlop deck was surrounded by a passage known as the Carpenter's Walk, which gave the carpenter and his mates easy access to the ship's hull to plug any leaks.
Okay, okay. Very, very
At the
nice.
very bottom of the ship lay the hold, around 50,000 cubic feet, holding provisions for up to 6 months at sea. It was lined with 257 tons of iron ballast to keep the ship stable. This was covered by 200 tons of shingle, additional ballast, which provided a stable bed for the ship's 150-gallon water casks. These alone weighed roughly 300 tons at the start of a voyage. Other barrels contained 50 tons of salt beef, 50 tons of salt pork, and 45 tons of ship's biscuit.
That sounds delicious, I'm not gonna lie.
Below contained items such as flour, spirits, tar, and paint.
That sounds very delicious right now.
Hot water contained 100 tons of iron shot. Last but not least, the most vulnerable part of the ship, the Grand Magazine.
Oh,
35 tons
yeah.
of powder in 784 barrels. A fire here would cause an explosion that obliterated the ship and anyone aboard. Or if water got in,
Very risky.
useless in battle. Therefore, elaborate precautions were taken to keep the magazine safe, including fire doors, fire-retardant plaster walls, copper sheathing to avoid sparks, and keep out moisture and rats. The forward section of the magazine was the filling room. Here, loose gunpowder was scooped from this powder bin into cloth bags to make cartridges for the guns.
Very smart. Wow, that is really smart.
Light room.
Okay. That's really, really genius.
Cartridges were stored in racks on either side of the filling room.
Okay.
In an age before steam or electrical power, all the ship's heavy lifting had to be done by manpower. Mechanical assistance came from 2 capstans, the main capstan and jeer capstan. These were effectively giant winches, which extended vertically through the middle and lower gun decks. To turn them, bars were inserted into the capstan head, with up to 10 men pushing each bar. Using both decks, this meant 260 men were working the capstan for the heaviest jobs, such as...
I saw this job. I think I saw this job. I could be wrong, but I swore, wasn't this job usually done by slaves? I'm not talking like just like black slaves. No. I'm just talking like slaves in general. I'm talking like ancient times. Didn't ancient times use this technology as well? And typically they like use slaves. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But I'm pretty sure this is usually just done by like any type of slave that anyone had, if they had slaves on the ship.
Raising the main anchor
or hoisting a gun. The work was often accompanied by a fiddler, a shanty, and the stamp of feet.
I can only imagine.
7 anchors in total. The heaviest, the best power anchor, weighed 4 tons and was rigged at the starboard bow. The small bower anchor on the larboard side was only slightly smaller. Sheet, kedge, and stream anchors served as spares and for keeping the ship stationary in small harbours or rough weather. All wooden ships leak at sea, even before hulls are split by cannonballs or hidden reefs. Victory had 4 crank-operated chain pumps, which could pump water out of the ship at approximately 1,300 gallons per minute, about 300 jerry cans worth. She also had 2 elm pumps for pumping seawater into the ship for washing and putting out fires. In the late 18th century, HMS Victory and ships like her were the most sophisticated and advanced machines in the world. Massive floating batteries that could remain at sea for 6 months or more and traverse the globe. In the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, they battled for naval supremacy. Most dramatic.
I cannot believe that this fought in the Revolutionary War. And the thing is, I know a lot about the Revolutionary War too, and I never knew that this fought in the I thought this was like built during the Napoleonic era. I cannot believe that. Oh, that is, wow, like I said, I learn something new every day. That's actually really, really cool.
In giant fleet actions. It was a contest that Britain won decisively. The consequences for Napoleon were disastrous. But for all victory's qualities, it was not ship design that gave Britain the edge in the war at sea. It was the men who sailed her. British commanders and crews were experienced, capable, and aggressive. In the next video...
Bro, these people were made for the sea. These people were built different. Honestly, these people were literally built different.
We'll see how they sailed and fought a ship like Victory, and how they lived aboard her.
Okay.
Our deep thanks to the National Museum.
Oh wait, that's the ship, right? Oh wow, wow. You see, this is what I'm talking about. It's so much better to see like these type of things in person than freaking like on pictures and artwork and whatnot. Like, look at that, dude. Like, this just gives a much better insight. That is really cool.
The Royal Navy and HMS Victory for their help in making this series.
All right, that is the end. All right. Okay, check out these other things coming on your screen. Don't forget to drop the thumbs up, and I'm gonna be dropping more videos like this tomorrow. So thanks for watching.